Hi, I'm Laura Goodman. I'm the president of PFLAG Rockland, and I'm so happy to be here tonight. Um, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got involved with PFLAG Rockland. I have two daughters. I have a cisgender daughter named Mia, who's 23, and I have a transgender daughter named Jade, who's 20. Jade transitioned. She began her transition about 5 years ago, and she was about 15, and I was really scared and didn't really know where to turn. I was feeling really alone. So I knew about PFLAG Rockland through Mimi Goodman, who I've known for a really long time. And I went to my first PFLAG Rockland meeting. And the minute I walked in the room, I knew that this was exactly where I needed to be. I felt like, these people really could help me get through this. And they did. And now 5 years later, I am so fortunate that I get to facilitate 2 meetings a month with Mimi. And I get to accompany all these incredible parents on their journey with their incredible children. My daughter, I never imagined that having a transgender daughter would bring me so many gifts. And one of them is PFLAG Rockland. And another one is Mimi Goodman, who I'd like to introduce.
Oh, thank you. So I want to say I'm Mimi Goodman. My pronouns are she, her, and we are not the Goodman dynasty. I always have to add, because I am vice president of PFLAG, but Laura and I are not related, but I always say we are related through the beautiful work that we do together. So not biologically related, but related on the human plane. Anyway, I just want to say that my journey with PFLAG began 25 years ago. My second child came out at the time as a lesbian and then later as non-binary. And I just like to always throw in here that they probably were always non-binary, but there was no language at the time. There was no term. And if you don't have the language, you cannot identify yourself. So it's a very big and important thing that we now have that kind of language for so many young people. And I have a son, a gay son. He is living in London with his partner of 22 years and his husband of 6 years. Only his husband of 6 years, because as we know, we didn't always have marriage equality. So I want to say that, first of all, we are always thrilled to be here with artists because we love artists. And we also think that there's an incredible connection between PFLAG and the artist community. And the connection is that young people that we've worked with from the LGBTQ plus community, I think they see the world with their unique vision. They stretch the boundaries, and they in some ways force people to see the world a little bit differently, to see gender identity differently, to see sexual orientation a little bit differently. And through their clothing, their hair, their makeup, their dance, they just infuse the world with color. So we have to say that artists do the same thing, that the artists that we work with have their unique vision of how they see the world. And they also stretch us to see objects and shapes and landscapes in a different way. So that, I feel, is that why it's such a beautiful natural connection that we really appreciate. So with that being said, Laura, I think I'm going to turn it up. I do want to add one other thing. I want to say that we have to thank the wonderful, wonderful Lisa D'Amico, who is part of our board, who has become a beautiful friend, and who is a beautiful artist in her own right. And it's because of her that we have these wonderful events that unite the artist community and the LGBTQ community. So a very, very big thanks out to Lisa.
Thank you, Mimi. And to all of these incredible artists who participate in our events, whenever PFLAG Rockland says, can you help us? They do, and it amazes me. And I could talk about that forever, but I'm so excited to be able to ask our incredible artist tonight, Neil Lavey, who is a very talented painter and illustrator. Our first question for you is, how does your identity as a member of the LGBTQ plus community inform your art?
Okay, well, it's a wondrous journey, as they often say, and it's something that art sort of, shall we say, helped me come out a little bit to myself, and to family and friends in the process, because you know, I always gravitated towards drawing the male figure, and I've said in the past that part of that is my influences in growing up. I grew up across the street from a comic book artist named Irv Novick. And so, you know, basically, when you're drawing comic book characters, you're drawing naked men. They just happen to be, in spandex. But so, how it informs, it's an interesting thing, because I started using my own sort of fantasies, if you will, to, kind of reveal myself to others. And some of it's a little hardcore, some of it's, whimsical, some of it's fun, some of it's a lot of it's very traditional, and as far as the mediums I use. But it was sort of like a sort of self-discovery, and my coming out process was very slow. As my husband now says, in retrospect, I had a revolving door in my closet. So I was one time married to a woman, and I have a 30-year-old son, and so there was, like I said, a wondrous journey there. But thanks to social media and my own sort of, kind of boldness, if you will, I think the word is out pretty much that, this is the direction I'm headed in. And so here we are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Interesting to say that art helped you in that way find yourself, I think, find your identity. That's an interesting comment. Yeah. I wonder if that will be true for other artists that we speak to. Have you found that to be true for others?
I think so. Certainly in my genre, which tends to be big burly men, or what is actually even known as the bear community. I've heard similar stories and know of similar tales, if you will. So, yeah, I'm very proud of the body of work that I've done and the overall quality of it. And I like to jump around in different mediums and so forth, and that sort of keeps it fresh for me. But also, I'd like to let younger artists know that some of the things that they're struggling with can be very cathartic to try to sort of bring them to light in through your work. So there's that.
So, well, thank you. We have another question that we would like to ask you. So, do you see art as having the ability to change people's minds and hearts on issues such as the acceptance of LGBTQ plus community? And if you do see it, how do you see it having an impact on people?
Yeah, I do. It's it's interesting. I was thinking about how the timeliness of this conversation, how you were asking me these questions in recent events with the statue of David by Michelangelo, and all the uproar with this Florida school system and whatnot, and how ultimately they've now been invited to come to Italy and see the sculpture itself. And but it sort of, I don't mean to despair straight people, as quote unquote, but there's a joke in the gay community that if the Sistine Chapel had been painted by a straight guy, it'd be done with a roller and off-white. So we're here, and we've been here for a long time, and our mark has been made, and you can choose to look at it or not choose to look at it. But yes, I think it can help inform people and educate people. Sometimes the party gets a little rough. If you remember a few years back, somebody objected to Mapplethorpe's images being funded, at the National Gallery, and they ended up projecting his slides or his photos on the side of the building. And sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands and sort of grab people by the lapels and say, you know, it's only art. It's not going to kill you. You know, it's a, you know, sure. Yeah. I absolutely think that art can influence people's thinking and how they view things in the world, and maybe ultimately change their point of view.
Well, it's wonderful to hear you say that, because that is the part of the beauty and wonder of art. So again, expanding people's minds, looking at things a little bit differently. So good to hear that you feel the same way, because we do also.
Yeah.
So
Big shock. We're like-minded.
yeah, big surprise, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, I guess we had the two questions for you. Is there anything that you would like to add before we end? Anything thought that you would like to say?
You know, on the subject, I'm not sure when this is going to be available or how soon it's going to be aired or whatever for viewing, but I do have a show coming up in Dobbs Ferry at the public library, and it's just recent works, and I have, you know, oil paintings there, as well as some of my recently 3D printed pieces. This is actually a 3D printed piece behind me here. That is
Wow.
one of the recent sculptures. So
Wow.
that opening takes place May 7th, and it's up for the whole month of May in Dobbs Ferry. So a little plug there, shameless self-promotion, but you know, we artists got to work the room.
Absolutely. No, and we're, I guess, Laura, right, we're sorry to tell you, I wish we were airing it before the month.
We're airing it
May.
during Pride Month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully all you really enjoyed my show, and, yeah, and I'll see you, you know, over there in Rockland County and Nyack and stuff, hopefully in the coming weeks. So thanks
Well,
for
Great.
hopefully you'll have another show in June.
yeah, I'll always,
Right.
there's always another show.
Right.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
right, so we thank you very much for coming on.
All righty.
That we will be showcasing you in the beautiful month of June, which is Pride
Thanks so
Month.
much.
But I like to say Pride is every month. So
There you go. Yep. I like that. Take care.
Thank you,
so
Neil.
much.